Everyone is watching the wrong chart. Semiconductors are up 73% this year, software down. Same AI boom, opposite returns, and that gap right there is the cleanest setup on the board that nobody's talking about. Give me 5 minutes. Quick one before we start. This is just my personal opinion and how I think about the market. It's not a financial advice. It's not a recommendation. I'm not your advisor. I hold some of these names by myself. And do your own research. Cool, let's go. Quick context. This is IGV. Basically, the entire software sector in one ticker. Microsoft, Palantir, Datadog, all of it. While everyone front-ran the chip trade, software just sat there and got left for dead. But underneath, macro, catalyst, and valuation are all lining up at the same time. That basically never happens. Let's break it down. Start with the gap itself. Year to date, semis plus 73%, software minus 10%. That's an 80-point spread in 6 months. Zoom out 3 years and chip have beaten software by 128 points. The spread between them is sitting at minus 1.82 z-score. Third percentile translation, this is about as stretched as it has ever been and stretched rubber band snapback. Every single time it's gotten this extreme. Its mean reverted inside 6 months. That's not a take, that's the tape. Okay, but why now? The Fed, the market pricing, the first real rate cut for September. And long duration assets, which is exactly what software is, run when rates come down. After that first cut, software has historically beaten semis by 8 to 12% over the next 90 days. Stack the seasonality on top. September and October are the software's 2 strongest months of the entire year. The calendar and the Fed are pointing the same direction, and demand not slowing. Cybersecurity spend alone is heading to $258 billion, growing 11% a year, almost double the rest of IT. Nobody cancels their security budget in a downturn. Now the spark, the AI IPO wave is finally here. OpenAI last mark around $852 billion and Anthropic $965 billion. Both have filed to go public. Both are aiming for the back half of this year. Here's the part nobody's pricing in. The second a pure AI company prints a public valuation, every AI software names get re-rated against it. The whole basket moves at once. And who's most exposed? Microsoft owns roughly 27% of OpenAI. Datadog and Cloudflare are wired straight into the AI infrastructure spend. The application layer, that's where the leverage lives. Okay, but before we dive into whether this is actually cheap, real quick, everything I just walked you through, the rotation, the minus 2 z-score, the flows, I didn't pull it from 10 different tabs and a messy spreadsheet. I ran all of it in only one place. It's a market terminal I built. I called it terminal. The data, the flows, the screens, the backtest, the whole workflow behind this video in one terminal. If you want to build your own thesis like this one, terminal.com. Alright, so is it actually cheap? Software's expensive though, right? Wrong. The median software name trades at a PEG under 2 on 20% plus growth. Semiconductors, PEG over 3 and decelerating. You are paying less for more growth. That's the whole game. A few names I flag: Microsoft, the Anchor, Palo Alto platforms done fat free cash flow yield. MongoDB, cheapest software stock on the board at 9x revenue, and Datadog and Cloudflare if you want the high octane stuff. So I ran it. 1000 simulation on IGV. Median outcome up 3% in 65 days. Best case plus 24%. Worst case minus 15%. And 57% of the path finish greens. Probability weight, the expected value, comes out around plus 9.5%. Shallow downside, fat upside, that's a convexity trade. But to be honest, this is not a layup. Only 4 of my 7 seniors are actually firing. Relative strength index isn't oversold, so it can still flush lower first, and the yield curve is still inverted. That's a real recession flag, not a noise. So I size it for the odds, not the story. Here's how I'm personally framing it. My own approach, not a recommendation for you. 3 tiers. Core 50%, the large caps I lean on: Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Palo Alto, Broadcom. Active 35%, the AI linked growth I'm watching: Datadog, Mongo, Snowflake, Salesforce. And speculative 15%. The high beta stuff like Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, Palantir. The levels I'm watching myself, I want at least 3 signals confirming with IGV under $95. My stop sits at $78 and I don't do hero trades. So that's the software rotation. The gap is real, the catalyst has a date, and to me, the math leans on green. But let me be crystal clear. Everything here is my personal opinion for education and entertainment only. Not financial advice, not a recommendation, and I'm not a licensed advisor. I may hold positions in the names I mentioned. You can lose money in markets. Do your own research and talk to a licensed professional before you risk a single cent. If this is the kind of breakdown you want more of, you know what to do. Catch you in the next one.